the two things that we're going to look at today is, number one, the image of God. Number two, the image of Adam. We're going to start in Genesis 1, verse 26 to 27. It says, "Then God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness." The Hebrew for image here is tselem. Now, tselem is a word that in context can be used for idols. When God created the heavens and the earth, he essentially put himself in charge of the heavens, and then he created this creature who by nature belongs to this world because of how he was made from the dust of the earth. Genesis 2:7. He created Adam to be the ruler. But then in order for Adam to be the ruler, he had to have the traits of God, because only God knows how to rule. Anybody who learns how to rule, it is God who gives them the authority. Does that make sense? That is why humanity is the apex creature on earth. It's the creature that runs things. It's the creature that makes decisions. When man is made, God uses a specific word, like I said, tselem. What you would do to create a tselem is you'd get mud or you'd get wood and you'd create a statue. Why? That statue or that carving is built with the purpose of trapping and housing a spirit. And this is exactly what God did with us. He created an image in which God himself can abide in you. So then when he formed man from the dust of the earth and breathed into him the breath of life, it says he became a living creature. He literally became a representative of God himself on the earth. The purpose of a tselem is for a spirit to find expression upon the earth. So this is why then God despises idols, because many people think idols are just statues. Many people think idols are just, no, idols are far deeper. The whole point of an idol is to trap a spirit so it can find expression on the earth. So this is why God despised idols, statues, anything made in honor of a God that was physical. It had the capacity to host that spirit. So this is why every time you see consistently, if you read the conquest of Israel in Joshua, when you see every single time that altars and idols and statues were built in honor of Baal, Ashtoreth, Moloch, God would instruct that they should cast them down and destroy them and take them. It's a consistent theme. It's not because God doesn't like rocks or God is scared of rocks. God is not scared of rocks. God is not scared. If you see God continuously strain on a matter, you have to pay attention to it. Basically, the whole point of an image is other spirits have tried to copy what God has done, which is to make a thing on earth that can house it. So the whole point of the image of God is to trap the spirit so that it can find its expression on earth. That's why when God made Adam, he could give him instructions, he could tell him what to do, because in Adam was what you call life. And that life came from God. God's image upon you is his binding. So there are certain things you can do and certain things you cannot do. Why? Not to limit you, but to protect you in order to what? Ensure you operate at maximum capacity. The image of God is such a powerful thing. Very, very powerful thing. It's an honor. This ensures that we are the highest form of creation in all of creation. When the image of God is established, there's another word that God brings, it's likeness. Image and likeness are not the same thing. They have different bases. So image is what? The ability to host God. Likeness means to have the traits of God. The Hebrew word for likeness, you find its root in the word dam. So the word is demuth, but you find the root in dam, and dam is a word for blood. And we know scientifically that it's in our blood that our genetics are passed on. Our DNA is found in our blood. So this is why you look like your parents. You see the word I use there? Look like, likeness. So in the blood is where you locate likeness. So essentially, that likeness is supposed to form how you think, how you live, how you behave. Is all the traits of the previous generation. So God is putting his traits inside of man. Man can be his own person, just as you are your own person. apart from your parents, completely detached, but you carry their resemblance. You carry their blood. It's important to understand image and likeness are not the same thing. Image is the ability to host God. Likeness is carrying the very traits of God. The image of God tells you that the master of that binding is God himself. So the commander is God. The instructor is God. The giver is God. The blesser, the delegator is God. So everything good and everything pertaining to the image of God comes from whom? God. It's in the name. It's the image of God. So whatever can happen and whatever can be used is up to God. God instructs it. So the nature of the image of God is what determined by who? God. It's in the name. Now, that means legally, nobody else has access or authority over the image of God apart from whom? God. This is where we said that man was created in submission to God naturally. So this is why then this question arises. If I'm made in the image of God, how come my life is not consistent with what the image of God is? You have something that's introduced in Genesis chapter 5 called the image of Adam. Genesis 3 has a very interesting story. Have you guys ever noticed Satan did not command anything? The adversary never said to Eve or to Adam, eat, go and eat. He came asking questions. Because one thing about bondage that's so significant is, yes, there can be an enforcer, but the one who's been enforced into it has to agree to it. Meaning they can also come out of it. They have to come out of it themselves. This is why I say no one can actually set you free until you make the decision to agree with whoever might be taking you out. So what does Satan do? He speaks, he questions, he creates doubt. Like I said, he creates a false sense of freedom, not realizing Adam and Eve didn't realize that they were being lured into something new. Because there are things that are illegal for the image of God. Like I said, nobody can command Adam. No animal, no spirit, no being apart from God. Only God has authority over Adam. Besides that, everybody else is under Adam's feet. This is what it means to be in the image of God. Then Satan comes in as the serpent. Did God actually say? He never said, Eve, eat. Adam, eat. Why? Because had he just instructed them, they wouldn't have listened. Because the image of God does not allow you to adhere and to bow to another spirit. So you have to tempt them out. Everything has legal basis to happen. There's nothing that happens without being passed in the courts of heaven. Remember, the image of God, there are certain things that are not legal. Many things that are not legal. That means there is a gray area somewhere where certain things become legal. It's not the image of God that's the problem. There is another image. Remember when I said this, that the moment man listened to the temptation of another spirit, he became subject to any and every spirit. And this is what we call the image of Adam. The moment Adam walked out by his own free will, he became the master of himself. But unfortunately, humanity was not made to be the masters of themselves. They were made naturally by nature to submit to a spirit. Man has to always be in submission to something. Because humanity was never made to be independent. Humanity was made to be dependent. That's why even if you don't believe in God, you will find a coping mechanism somehow. Because humanity has to depend on something. If it's not God, you will depend on something. I promise you, there's no person that can. You depend on yourself. You depend on money. You depend on gymming. You depend on substance abuse. You depend on technology, your phone, social media, attention, all kinds of things, because that's how you were made naturally. You were naturally made to depend on things. So the image of Adam creates this corruption that we are in charge. No, we're not. The image of Adam is legal ground for anything pertaining to death to ensnare your life. Genesis 5 verse 1 says, "This is the book of the generations of Adam. When God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. Male and female he created them. He blessed them and named them man when they were created. Look at this. This is where the transition happens. When Adam had lived 130 years, he fathered a son in his own likeness. In his own likeness. After his image, he fathered Seth in his likeness and after his own image. This is why then in Romans 5:12 it tells you, by one man sin entered into the world. Many people ask, so how do demons and how do sickness, how do all these things, all of these things are pertaining to death? Anything pertaining to death legally can have its way in your body. Pain, sickness, all of these things, they are proofs of the image of Adam. So you have two different images here. Both of them have their own legal bindings. One, the binding of life, the other, the binding of death. So the law of life and everything pertaining to life is founded in the image of God. Then everything pertaining to death is found in the image of Adam. So the legal ground for anything Satan wants to do is he must find the trace of Adam in you. This is the basis of how bondage finds its way. The image of God is the territory of life. The image of Adam is the legality of anything pertaining to death. So this is where now we then look at, okay, when certain things happen, this is how they find access. Because when it comes to things finding physical expression and manifestation, it means they had to find spiritual legal access first.